parents are very strict. Where are you going with those skates? Wear your helmet. Are you doing that too? Are you jumping on those banisters?
Hello. Hello.
Oh,
Hey, Liam.
what's up, Josh?
So here we are. Yeah, here we are. Sunday morning, and we already talked to Ben last week. So we are going to speak to Ben Horgan today. The Horganator. The Horganator. Ben Horgan, lots of you know him. Most of you know him from Auckland. Doesn't live there anymore. He's been around for ages and ages and ages. A good dude to basically everyone. So he's gonna have lots to say, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Be pretty hard case.
We got lots of things to ask him, and we're probably going to run pretty long. So I think he's ready to go. We're going to try and dial him up.
Yep. We'll bring him in now. I'll just hold on. He just texted saying he's going to poo and having a coffee, so we just need to wait for him.
All right, that's cool. I'm sure poo and a coffee is code for something else, but Liam's got COVID.
Yep.
Everyone.
So when I said I didn't have COVID,
yeah, he said he didn't have it while he was coughing and sneezing and rubbing his nose incessantly in the last video. But how's it going? Oh, you bought the test.
Oh, it's just that's where it was when I tested it. Literally after the last podcast, I tested in the room.
So this is what someone suffering from COVID looks like. This is how bad it can be.
No, I'm on day 6 now, and the last podcast was day 0. So, yeah, it can't
feel safer now. Everyone feels safer.
Yeah, it can't jump down the interwebs, Joss.
Jacinda might have something else to say about that.
Yeah, she might.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's team of 5 million. Now,
so
the family's all got it now too, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. But you're not going to die.
No, I'm not going to die.
You actually look pretty reasonably good for.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the mend.
Yeah. So, do you want me to message him while he's on the shitter and tell him to hurry up?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, well, we're sort of sorted now. Thanks for being number one, Ben.
Far out. Thank you very much for having me. My instinct is to say dumb stuff like I don't know why anyone wants to hear me talk, but I want to hear you guys talk. So I'm super excited. There's so many people I want to call out in here. I'm just amped. This is happening, man. It's something that's needed to happen for a long time. I think we've got a wealth of history and knowledge, and we sit around watching the rest of the world do their thing, and we get all amped and we aspire to be like that, and it's like, nah, man. Like Kat and Rick were doing flips over, like Ford Festivas in the Pack and Save car park in the 90s, and that was lit then. I didn't see, there was no footage there. Like everything I saw was local first when I started. So I think it's important that we talk this talk, and it's going to be cool. I think like when we get through all these grizzly old dudes around, there's some fresh meat too out there. So no, man, blading's good. Life is good. It's rad. I get to talk to my mates about it.
Cool.
It's just funny that we seem to think other people will want to listen.
Yeah, well, I think, like you say, it's a different scene here to other countries, but it's still the same kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see what people have got to say. I guess we wanted to sort of start rolling with like your early years coming into the sport. Like I remember the first time I met you was at Roller Force in Hamilton, and that must have been around 95, probably 1995. But I know that you were around earlier than that, because when you showed up, you were like really good at that stage. So when did you get your first pair of skates, or how did you come into it? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, man. So I think, like, I'll jump forward and bet. Like, I think when I met you guys the first time, I want to say it was the inline open day at Roller Force. Must have been 95. So I probably had 3 years under my belt. And I remember turning up and I was so psyched, and I was like, oh, that's like Emma Gray and Tim Van Weerd. That's Joss Williamson and Liam Kerbell. Oh, there's like real bladers here. Because the one big homie, Chris Lee, Mana Tattoo over in Bad Bramstedt in Germany. Peace and love to the brother. He came back with like Daily Bread. It's the Belvedere Gallery. Issue something. It's got that cool Kolash front side on the cover, and then like a box magazine from Rotorua. And we were like, oh, we thought about ramps and rails, like it made sense. But I seen you guys at Roller Force, and it was a little I thought I was the man. I learned Royales and Unities the day before on a curb. Watching Renee Holgren's vert run, because that's all the coverage that was on Sky on the X Games. And I turned up and I was like, yeah, these people don't even know what hit them. Taupo's in the house, and then watched Tim Disaster Fishy both ways over the box, and then realized I could be babysitting Emma and Michael, and they were way better than me. It was just like, oh, hey, Hamilton's got game. And then Liam bullied me into swapping my Bentleys for Brooks, but that's another story. No, I think I started, it must have been 90, I'm saying 92. I figured it out, like I worked backwards. So it's 30 years next month that I've been skating, with a couple of hiatuses for headbangs and leg tweaks. But it must have been 92. I know I'd seen Return to Oz, the Wizard of Oz sequel. And it's got those wheelers, and they've got like just casters on their hands and feet, and they hoon around like Blue Man Group. And I was like, well, that makes so much sense. I still remember the thought now, like that makes so much sense. And then Mountain Dew on the Edge had this, I don't know, it might have been 40 seconds, it might have been 90 seconds, it might have been a couple of 3-4 minutes. And it was like a clip, and there was like Josh Lang, Day One Homie, like I miss you, bro. Might have been like Shiloh. It was probably Hamish, maybe Brady Sinclair. I don't know if Ricardo was in there, but the Auckland crowd, and they were skating like Abbott's and T-Attitude. The track was Redhead Kingpin's You Don't Know Me. And they were like bombing Queen Street and like down hills. And I was just like, oh! And I managed to get someone to taped it, like someone taped Mountain Dew on the Edge, the Raddest Extreme Sports Show. Is that pre-Brook? I wonder if he had a
hand. That was.
But
that was
anyway, they.
Lana
Oh, true.
Yeah, because they had a
trouble down the line.
But
I got a tape of that. Sorry to cut you off, Liam. I just, sometimes it feels like you're talking. This Mountain Dew on the Edge tape, man, was like, I think I dubbed it and just had like a 3-hour loop of like a 90-second edit. And I was just like, this is the shit. I don't think I was writing it at that stage. And then I'm just trying to think now. Must have been the homie Chris Bignell. Chris, what up? Lots of love, man. I must have been standard 4. Been 92. I was like 10 years old, and like went to jam at his place, and he'd got some blades for Christmas, and I had a little hoon round on them, and I was like, man, this is real cool. Then I started. I think he was like, oh, you can borrow them if you want. I don't really use them, and I treaty claimed that Waitangi tribunal that shit. He never got them back. I was like, I was taking them everywhere, man. Like my grandparents at Pataru. I was like, you could bomb the driveway and then run into the grass or crash into the roller door. I spent a lot of time in my room with a bit of conduit, a broomstick, a stool, a stack of bricks, jumping over like high jump style, because there was no carpet by my door and then carpet by my bed, so you could do like mad like standing methods over it. So fast forward, get through that sort of standard 4 year over the summer, and then I meet the homie Sam Walker. Must be intermediate, like due to turn 11 that year. go to his place, and him and his sister got skates for Christmas. And I think I was a size 9. I remember jamming my feet into like 5s or 6s because he's like, she's my sister's. And like we'd be there all weekend making like hard out, like drop knee wiggle walk courses. You had to jump the skipping rope and duck under the tree branch, and it was just sick. And I'd already by that stage I was just like, man, this is, apart from like cricket and rugby and stuff, like this is all I want to do.
So did you?
Yeah.
So can you remember? Like you said, you skated Peteru. Can you remember when you actually started like realizing that you could do decent? Like you could grind on skates and you could do tricks on it.
Yeah, because initially when we started, none of that existed.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
We hadn't seen Airborne yet or anything, but like in our mind, like I have a massive skateboarding background. Glenn Innes, GI Panmure in the 80s. Tamaki College used to have a vert ramp, one of the old rad ramps there. Our best mates at Bredenbeck's, they had friends that were, I don't know if it was Frank at Cheapskates or maybe Bill bringing Vision stuff in. But yeah, so I got a skateboard deck birthday, and we'd go down the vert ramp and try and push around on it and get our faces rocked and that shit stolen, because when you're in the hood, that's how you roll. Like to me, I knew ramps, I knew rails, I knew grinding, it was there. So these things on my feet, it was like, I want to jump some stairs, like, and someone had a quarter pipe or a mini ramp, and it was just like, I must be able to do that. It would have been, so 92 I started. So yeah, by 93, I remember 93, 94, we'd figured out you could like do front sides, and it just was a natural progression. We always wondered about soul grinds, but it never, like, no one put it together. And so we're probably pushing like third form. So 93, 92, 93, 94 would have been Standard 4, Form 1, Form 2. So it's 10, 11, 12. So I'm 12 years old. We're starting high school. The homie Josh Downs I'm pretty sure I was at intermediate primary school with him. He had family down in Kapiti. They used to go to Skate and Blade all the time. He came back between like Form 1 and Form 2, 11, 12 years old, I guess this makes more sense. He had these Lightning TRS from his cousin. We were just like, what are they? They're like Fiores or something. That's like a real hockey skate. Like we'd started to see little bits and pieces come out. And he had like a custom power strap made onto it. And about that time, we just bumped into people skating around town. And one of them was like, oh, I got a mini ramp in my backyard. And it must have been like heading into third form. And yeah, Chris and Simon had a mini ramp. And so it was, you used to do the 50-50 stall, 1 foot on the platform, 1 foot in the ramp with the coping running along. You do that and roll down, and do that and roll down. And I just wanted to do, Gumbies and Misties and 50-50s, and you do them alley-oop and like roll them and 270 into them. And it was sweet. And you just like, a couple of times I didn't air and I wasn't fast enough to roll onto the coping, and I stuck on, like 3 clip ski buckle blades with plastic wheels. And then I jumped from a front side round into a backside and just dropped back in. It was like, oh, that's pretty sick. Couldn't slide them because it was all wheels, but I was like, oh, this is a thing. I wonder if you can take them out. A few weeks or months later, Chris and Si came back from Rotorua, and had a Daily Bread issue. And it was like, they're doing it. It was like, oh, the little wheels. So we got the lathe out and cut skateboard wheels down and straight into metalworks. Like, oh, make me some grind plates. And it was game over. That's like, it's all of it.
Yes, I mean, I guess it's I guess when that 94. Starts happening, you go, Ben.
Oh no, just I think 94. Sorry, I'll try to get to the point because I realize I'm rambling. It's like, wait, I'm sure he asked me a specific key point of information. 92, 90, so 93, 94 would have been when grinding sort of hit, and it was a front side and a back side before we'd seen it. That Daily Bread turned up, and it was like, Chris Edwards was doing a soul and Tarmacs. And there was like Brooke and Scott, and we'd heard the names and we'd seen stuff on the TV on the Action Sports show. So that was about the time I started catching colds, because I'd spend 8 hours in the rain chasing Scott Bentley's the red Mazda 323 around Taupo in the pouring rain, because it had Senate stickers on it, so no one else knew what that was. I'd get it, like my house would get woken up at 6:15 in the morning from the big homie Chris Lee at Pack and Save, where he worked, and he'd be like, I just seen like Brady, Sinclair, Bentley, and Stacey Fraser, they're here skating or something, and I'd like get out, leave the house before my parents are up, like sprint down the road in my skates in the fog and the frost, and follow these dudes around hoping to catch a glimpse of them. It started picking up. We were getting kicked out of heaps of places, so we ended up Meeks Boats and Ollie Gordon, two fam from back in the day, going out at the time, and put together like a crew, and we formed a club to petition the council, and we had chair people and treasurers, and we got that first McDonald's tin ramp set up, so we weren't getting kicked out of places. And that was when it like became a thing, because that 94, 95 it was happening a lot. And then I think, I'm pretty sure it was, I've got the proof sheet somewhere and like a little board. I've got all those clips. I've got like baby Tim royaling the kink, and Bentley and Sinclair, or no, Bentley and Brady doing like kickies or something over the fun box at the OG. But
when that Taupo park
yeah,
hit, Ben, you became like a local superstar in Taupo, because I remember you being on the front of your local rag.
I got so many, man. There's about 4 or 5 newspaper clippings, and I don't know, man. I'm just raised by wolves. I was raised by hippies. Like it's a lot of love. I'm probably immature because I've had to learn how to be a grown-up, but it made me feel good. And you'd go out skating and do something cool, and other people would feel good off it. And by that stage, we were already trying to teach people. It made sense. I just wanted everyone. I still do. I just want everyone to do it. If you don't like it, that's cool. But there's an aspect of it that's rad for you. So, yeah.
So if you like when you showed up at Roller Force the first time we saw you, I remember, and like I wasn't a huge part of that scene yet anyway, but I remember when you showed up at Roller Force with Chris, everyone sort of like you must have progressed pretty quick, because I remember people in the Hamilton scene being like, whoa, okay, like who's this guy? Like, is an outsider?
That Kiwi classic, out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Like they're from somewhere else. You're a bit of like an enigma, and then I don't remember seeing you much for a while after that.
Man, we made that first trip in 95 for. No, the first trip might have been 93, 94, because it was with Chris Lee, Josh Downs. Yeah, because I've never dropped in on anything bigger than the like one sheet sideways high mini ramp. You know, it's like under your arms when you stand next to it, because the rad ramp in Taupo had burnt down prior to me getting skates once we moved down there. And I remember distinctly, we went up one school holidays. It would have been 94, around that Christmas, 94, 95. We went up the first time early 95, late 94. Josh Downs, Chris Lee, and Roller Force wasn't open yet. So we went to OG Melville, like when there was nothing but Melville Bowl in the park. And I was like, oh, sick, man. I heard they've got a vert ramp at Roller Force, and like I was just into airs, and just I hadn't met a set of stairs I didn't want to jump down or roll down, or a hill I didn't want to bomb. So I was like, yo, I got this. And it's, you know, like I didn't even think I went down the Roland first and got stranded in the bottom. I just rocked up to the coping and was like, I got this, and dropped in, and then realized I couldn't breathe and my hip hurt and I was on the flat bottom. I think I missed the entire wall. Took my skates off, got out, went to Roller Force, and it was on. We probably didn't go for 6 months or a year. We went to that Roller Force, the open day comp, because I remember I had those Bauer FX3s with the fins that came out of the brake.
The first time. And then,
I had those because I remember rocking those massive Origin shorts and my, like, you know, knee pads and stuff like that, my Menace knee pads maybe, and my socks tucked up, and being able to do front side to front side, because we spent a lot of time on like P-rails, you know, just like a piece of coping from a driveway and a block. Wooden benches. Dad had made me a practice rail in the grass. There was the mini ramp up the road. I'd wake up, skate for an hour, come home, eat breakfast, go to school. Sometimes I'd have my
So when
skates at
did
school.
you?
I'd skate at lunchtime. I'd skate home.
So
Yeah,
when
I don't
did
know
you?
what else to do.
When did you move away from? When did you finally move away from Taupo? I'm fast forwarding a bit. Where was the
Yeah,
next place?
because I got picked up on like Taupo Sports World, Pip and Andrew, bless you. They like I was down there. We were trying to get skates ordered. I got my Argons. I think it might have been the Argons was the first time I actually met you guys to talk to. We'd skated the open day and stuff and sort of, brush past and how's it? But I remember it was breaking my wrist doing the disaster fishy. And I remember skating down to the end of the roller force rink to you, Joss, and being like, oh, I think I've dislocated my wrist. And it was all like zigzagged. And I didn't know any better. I never broken anything. So I just set it myself and sat down. And then, what's her name? Anita's mum gave me like ice blocks and a blanket because I was going into shock and I looked pale. But yeah, it must have been. Yeah, it would have been. I had those Argons, so I must have actually met you to sort of connect about the third trip a couple of years in.
Yeah.
But did you paint your
I went off on a
Argons
tangent.
white?
Yeah.
You painted your Argons
Nah,
white?
they were like, I think they were 3 or 4 different colors. We got these like resin test pots, and I just house painted that shit because I had those big like bolts, like Frankenstein bolts, like pegs instead of cuff bolts. And they were 11s, I think, and I've only started wearing 10 and a halves in the last 5 years. Like they were 2 or 3 sizes too big for me.
So fast forwarding a few years, Horgan.
But yeah, 98. So I got picked up on rollerblade, must have been, 95 would have been third form. So it was around then, maybe 95, 96. Sports World put me on, like rollerblading was everywhere, second biggest sport in the world. It overtook soccer at one stage for participation. I was gutted though because I just wanted oxygen all day, oxygen everything. Scott, Tash, I had the Argon ones. They were the business, and then rollerblade came through, and they were obviously like, "Well, there's a big barren oxygen presence here. We want rollerblade." And then they're like, "Oh, hey, we've got this kid." And I'd already been on that program. Like I had my rollerblade CV. I had testimonies from mates, and I'd gone out with friends that were photography students and shot a portfolio. There wasn't video.
Okay.
I just knew it's all I wanted to do. Like it wasn't like I'm the best, sponsor me, but it was just like I love what I'm doing. I'm going to put some stuff together, and it wasn't even maybe I can make this a thing. It's like I'm making this a thing. It was no question. If I'd known then how powerful your mindset is, it would have made a massive impact to my life. But yeah, so I was on rollerblade. At that stage, I was working probably 30, 40 hours a week at Georgie Pie in Taupo. My first job was like $5 something an hour. The big homie Jason Hose from My Music Taupo was my manager down there. Everybody get your records from the big homie. But yeah, so I was working 30, 40 hours a week after school in between skating and to basically pay for my bus tickets because not all of us were on the top tier of rollerblade only, and like some of us just got the odd pair of skates and didn't get all the mean shirts and all the latest gear. But what was it like, Pro, Bro, and Flow or something?
You got Zeal jeans,
Flow, Bro.
Per diem,
yeah, you guys all got the Zeal jeans. I just got the leftover Cokes and cookie times and like hand-me-downs from Doug and Snowy. But
well,
yeah,
if,
so
if,
90,
if you can't do a flip for a
97,
event,
98,
yeah.
I tried to catch that guy when he did that. That shit was scary. But sorry, to stay on track. Must have been 97, 98. Those holidays, I was already up. I went to school 3 or 4 days a week. I was on contract to Rollerblade, which was owned by Benetton Sports Group at the time, international Formula One mega company. And I was trying to break into the Northern District's development squad at age grade for cricket. So I had contracts that were like, sorry, this guy's got to be in Hamilton. Sorry, this guy's got to be in Auckland. I was pretty spoiled that I was doing well at school, I guess. That it didn't matter a hell of a lot. I was breezing through without putting any effort in. It's not everyone's that fortunate. So I was already up there. Any opportunity, I'd be in a car with someone or the rollerblade van doing schools programs, demos, and just I'd stay in St. Helier's out past Abbott's Way and like get dropped off or learn to bus into the city. And I was just at Cheapskates all the time, waiting for people, trying to figure out where spots were. And just staring in awe at all the wheels and watching videos. And Shiloh Mitchell, bless you, just, oh man, Chris Poi. We had such an amazing scene. Like by that stage, you got to remember 98, we had like New Zealand had 2 or 3 of the top international pros. There's so much history, man. Like the legit before it was legit.
So
the 98, like I was up there one school holidays and they were.
I want to put my hand up.
We're gonna import Rosie's or something, and fucking him and Amos were like, oh, well, do you want a job? And I was like, oh, bet, can I borrow the phone? I rang up and I was like, hey, mum, can you get that form from school? I've got me a job. And then Hamish was like, oh, you can come and board with us. And so I was just like, yo, let's get it. I was 15 years old and I had a full-time job at the skate shop where I spent all my life, and free stuff, and I lived behind the shit. Yeah, 98, world changed. I met my wife.
So Ben, you started working at Cheapskates when you were 15, 16. Is that right?
Yeah, April 28, 1998, I moved up, and I remember that because it's the night I met my amazing wife, aka Mum, the bestest queen in the world that raised you guys before you found your amazing queens. So, yeah, man, that's
we were gonna talk about Jo, and so you met her in Auckland, right?
First night I moved up, April 28, 1998, like a Saturday night, chilling in the room, me and Hamish, Tony, just little Kyle's cousin, just the slickest skateboarder, King, was like Joe's best mate. I think they'd been an item for a while. He was good mates with Hamish, so we were just around chilling, and he was like, oh, yo, you got to meet my friend. And he rang her up and was like, oh, come around, the new guy's up. And she was like, oh, I don't want to, the new guy, man. He's like, no, trust me, come around, we'll go out to the drags. 15-year-old me, like the drags. So, I know about like bush trucks for forestry. And yeah, she turned up, and straight up, man, like sitting here now, I can picture her walking in the bedroom door, white shirt, black pinstripes, black bootleg pants, and just this sparkliest smile in her eyes. And I was just like, yo, this chick's so. And then sussed out she was 20, and I was like, oh, probably not into 15-year-old. I was like, oh, 16 in 2 weeks. But we hung out that night and went to the drags and watched Aucklanders do skids, and I just got my Mac on, I was like, oh, you look cold. Yeah, do you want to hug? That'll be warm. And spent the next 2 weeks hanging out every single day, every single night, ring her up or she'd ring me up. She was working call center at ASB at the time. And yeah, we'd finish work and we'd go grab coffees at Positano down in Mission Bay there. Or she drove me everywhere, man. I didn't start driving till I was 25. So every time, if I was at Abbott's or we were skating on the shore, or if it wasn't the homies giving me a lift, it was Joe giving the homies a lift, like I was 15, 16 for 2 months, and then we moved in together.
Okay, so that was what I was going to ask you. When did you first live in the cave? Was that your first place together?
Yeah, I stayed with Hamish and Lyle at Horoweka Ave, around the corner from the Myers brothers, Mount Eden family for life, and that was, I think it was like 2 months. We were there, and then Kennedy Pointer, God bless the man, rollerblading owes that dude a lot. He did a lot of work with Pointer footwear and a whole bunch of stuff with Brooke and John and those guys. But Ken was the main designer for early designer for Boom and Strobe with Maury and that. He lived in the flat behind Cheapskates. They were moving out. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll move straight in. It's an old historical building. It's hard to keep track of who owns it, but basically Frank had the monopoly on those sections. Because I was like, I think I was sick. I just turned 16. Yeah, no, I was 16. Because we started going out on my birthday. Made sure it was legal so she wouldn't get in trouble. Yeah, we moved straight into that place I was like 20 minutes around the corner. She was living at home on the shore, I think. And that was, you're 16 years old, you're living in the heart of the city behind the sickest skate shop. You get free wheels and bearings. it's on. It was a 50-cent bus ride home from anywhere in the city, and you just had the most iconic street spots.
So you moved into the cave before you started working at the shop. Is that right?
No, I moved up because I was working at the shop. So I was working at the shop from the time I hit Hamish's, met Joe, a couple of weeks, going out with her, a couple of months. We might have had a fight. I think I was in the car with Josh Lang and his girlfriend at the time. We'd been up to movies, and I remember like getting them to pull over in Queen Street and being like, hey, sorry, I know we've been arguing, blah blah. Do you trust me? Do you want to, would you just like put it all on the line and throw caution to the wind? Do you want to move in with me tomorrow? And she was like, yeah, cool. And I was like, sick, because I don't think they'll let a 16-year-old sign the lease. But so yeah.
I know we've probably said it to you tons of times before, like, thanks for letting us stay, because when we found out that you were living there and that we could come and stay with you all the time, we did stay all the time.
Like, to this day, I get up in the on a Friday night. I figured out it's taken 30 years. On a Friday night, I get a little bit down because I know there isn't a random carload from some point of the country turning up. I used to be, you guys would be like, oh man, you started, you'd ring every now and again, hey, any chance we could come up and stay? And I'd be like, yeah. And then you'd knock on the door and it was like, I'd be bummed out when you guys didn't turn up. That was my first thought. It was like, yo, we've got the skate spot. Like that first night we moved in, who did we have? Like Grant, Bronson, I don't know if there was like Pooh or Cam but it was like the young Auckland scene, because at 16 there was, everyone's for 12, 13, 14, maybe Beagley's. But I remember it rained that first night we moved in. They'd taken the potbelly stove, the little chimney fireplace thing out, and the flashing burst and it floods. So we woke up at 2 a.m. to these guys trying to politely wake us up, like, Ben, Joe, there's water on the floor. We found out Bronson had eaten in one night our entire first week's worth of groceries. And Grant had fallen asleep on his arm. So when he woke up in rising water, he was just kind of like trying to flail this limp arm around. Yeah, but that was it. It was just like there was never any question. It was like, yo, this is the spot. This is for all the homies, this is my version of like Emma's place, when her mum had just let like 7 stink-ass teenagers crash out on the floor or something like that.
Yeah, well, me and Liam actually, we talked about how it was like quite a pivotal time and a place for us as well, because it was a cool meeting spot, and it was also a cool place to just come and stay.
Yeah,
and it was and like we would be there or at the shop or in town or anywhere.
Well,
so
that's it. It was cool. To me, it was kismet because you were there anyway. Was it Friday nights or Saturdays? You could, I've seen like 120, 150 rollerbladers turn up at that shop and mob out to the point where it was like, oh, we should bounce because it's probably making people uncomfortable trying to shop in the store. And then
so this was
100 of you would fly down Queen Street.
This was all around the same. This was all around the same time as like some of the early nationals competitions at Oriental. Because that was a really cool time as well, and we were talking about things that we wanted to talk to you about, and you you were DJing some of those early ones. You were on the mic, so how did that happen, and what was that like? Would you have rather been skating? Were you happy to do that?
My bloodline is I've got like Irish and Maori heritage. So like I'm gonna talk you out of whatever you have that I want, and if it becomes a problem, I'll just point out that it was mine anyway. It's just love, man. Like a positive attitude. I've never had an issue being in front of a camera or a mic.
So you were. Did someone put it to you that they wanted you to do that job, or?
Oh, I'm standing in the back like an average rap hype man, just yelling shit, getting in. Like I'm just so excited. I don't care about personal space or the fact that you might be trying to run a professionally called competition. And I think it was just like, give him the mic. He sounds less awkward. Or,
Right.
yeah, because I'd been to a couple of nationals prior to moving up, because I jumped out of that. Me and Teepa jumped out of the cage that year with the vert ramp.
Yeah, because
That might have been
going
just
back
before I moved up, I think.
Yeah, going back
Because like
before
my
then,
wife had
yeah.
seen me skate before she knew who I was.
I was going to say, going back before then, we used to have to qualify for nationals, and you showed up at a Waikato regionals and jumped out of the rafters there. Pretty intense drop into a quarter pipe.
Yeah, that was that. I think that must have been prior. That must have been around 96, 97. That was not long before I moved to Auckland.
Yeah,
Because I knew the crew. I was on rollerblades, so I think that was when I was up living at the Walkers out across from the BBI bus bay rails. Grant Walker, bless you, family. You're the man. I love you so much. It's my brother. Yeah, so I'd work all year after school, just spend basically 6 weeks at Grant's house, just eating barbecue bacon, double cheeseburgers, and going to like double rails and Abbott's Way and stuff like that. So
can you talk a little bit about like when you finished working at the shop and leaving the cave and moving somewhere different, what happened to your skating then?
It was heartbreaking. It was an identity crisis, man. Like I can't even remember how long we were there for, but
it was heartbreaking for us too.
Just started getting it just started getting played out. Like the easy money had faded. It wasn't like a guaranteed $1 million every few months in turnover and stuff like that, you know. It was the ownership of the company changed, the profile. There was, you know, it was skateboarding, rollerblading, skating, the culture, counterculture in general had become big business. And big business realized that all of a sudden. So instead of having like hippies that just wanted to skate running a store because they loved it, you had skaters that had business acumen or the drive were just like, yo, I can make bank off this. And there were things like seminars, and you were told in retail, like, attractive females will sell more product. So I came back from like an exit or something. Like I quit a couple of times because I'd just come back after a 5-day bender with the pros to a bunch of, I don't know, it just felt like negative, and I was probably frittered from misbehaving as well. It just sort of got squeezed out. I think the first time I was like, it's mundane, it's routine, it's not working. My sister had moved up with her boyfriend. They opened a pasta restaurant in Kingsland, and I was kind of over it. My gran had been diagnosed, might have been like lung cancer or something, shadow on the lung. She wasn't well. She had a massive house that she was trying to maintain by herself. And I was like, let's go and live with her and help out, and left the store. And I went to washing dishes for, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah.
Got it.
So yeah, we just wanted to sort of understand what it was like for you with the cave coming to an end. Hey, Roni. You just get out of bed, didn't you?
As I said, that's called the Skuck's life. That's what it looks like when you're just slaying foofanoos and whippets or whatever at the park on your razor. Yeah, man, it just life, you know, the market changed, the money wasn't there, the attitudes were different. And I got told, like, there's only enough work here for 1 day a week for you. You might want to find another job. So I was like, oh, cool. I know what you actually mean by that, because everyone talks.
Is that California?
Washing dishes for a bit.
What, Liam?
Oh, was that California?
Yeah, true. No, I'd worked at Cali, so I'd done the import-export stuff prior to leaving that first time. Because that Cali D around the corner there might have become skate, surf, and board over and towards Grey Lynn. Remember when Aaron was working there doing Edwards and stuff like that? Aaron Taylor, bless the homie, for putting me on rollerblade
explain
But
what
yeah,
kind
so
of
and
programming
so
was?
I got asked back and went back to work, and it was a little bit different, and it felt dirty. It wasn't. I love rollerblading. I just wanted people to rollerblade, and it was just kind of like it was just like snide attitudes, and like thanks for the money, but you're a kook. Sort of.
Yeah,
and getting paid peanuts while other people got paid mega bucks to not turn up or be wasted in the back. So yeah, it sucked, man. That was my identity. That was a big part of my life. That it's how I viewed myself. It's how I based my success and how I felt good. So not having that core identity is it's what I do. I was burnt out by that stage too. Like just try and run a comp and no one's happy with it, and try and get product in and no one is happy with the prices, and not being able to give free stuff to your mates because there wasn't enough money. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do it for a living. And I fell back in love with it pretty quickly. By the time I went back and ran the warehouse for Boom and Strobe after the second stint at Cheapskates, that's when we got pregnant. Joe got pregnant with Ollie, and I went to build skate parks with Premium Construction. So yeah, that was the change. It was a bummer, but it's like you got to grow, you know. Sorry, you do your thing now, Nenny. Sorry.
Things had kind of changed at that stage anyway. I think, like, I remember when you were working at the shop early on and getting product for people, and you're at the cave, and you know, the first time you worked there, and when the cave was a meeting spot for street skating in Auckland, everything sort of changed later on when you weren't at the shop and when you weren't living there. The scene in Auckland had kind of changed for us anyway, because I remember we would base ourselves in town a lot, and then when everyone got vehicles or cars, or we started staying at other places not in town with you, the spots changed. We traveled to different parks, so it was starting to become a bit of a different environment anyway, which was cool. It was still, like you say, it was sad that era kind of came to an end, but you still came out skating with us quite often, you know. The next place I remember staying was over on the shore, you know.
Yeah, right. I don't know that we might not have had too many visitors at grandparents at Jew's place in St. Heliers, but in the same sense too, like it evolved to the point where Owens and Harris, the Bryce, the Shore crew were just killing it. Franklin and the cats out west, there was like a scene, and like Isaac Kellen, the Blade God, you know, like some of those guys had really started putting that work in, Little Aaron and stuff. So there was like an alternative scene where it had almost done that counterculture thing where it got so big, and then the market, the retail sector, you know, those in control were like, you're not cool. And by that stage, bladers were like, fuck out of here, you know, we're bladers. And that's when Frank was bringing USD and stuff in, back cow, and Di was doing his thing. So it wasn't by that stage. I wish I'd left to go to Woodward when I had the job offer, but at the time I didn't want to leave because there was nothing. If I left, like what was going to be there? By the time it had built itself up to be self-sufficient in Auckland, and it was happening around, you know, Hamilton, Napier, Wellington scenes. It was kind of like I needed to be me again. I needed to like blading for blading, instead of 40 hours a week in the shop. And then every time I was out on my skates, I'd be on a 3-day Sid bender at X-Air or something like that, trying to talk to people's parents with my eyeballs bouncing around my head, watching the Red Bull chase people around the vert ramp. It was just like, I gotta appreciate this. It became work to enjoy it. It became work to promote it. And I had to stop to realize how much I liked it. Yeah.
So I think it's probably fair to say that the skate scene in New Zealand kind of matured same time as things changed in Auckland for you anyway. But should we talk a little bit more about like just skating for you? Like what's some of your what are some of your maybe your like the happiest times for you skating, or the things that you have valued the most over the years? Is that too broad of a question to ask, or can you pinpoint down some really good memories?
It's you guys without a word of a doubt. It's the family we made. I will get back to the Kelly D stuff too, Niam, but just skating. Like it was so pure before tricks, when I had black boots with 3 purple buckles and pink wheels, and it was how fast can I go? Can I drop knee these? Can I roll these stairs backwards? This hill is wicked. Like doing 180s or 360s on the flat, like just rolling. Yeah. Nothing but that basic movement. It's why skateboarding's so rad. It's why BMXing's so rad. Sliding, it's why snowboarding's so rad. When it was pure, it was amazing. When everything was new, when you weren't like restricted by physical limits or what you knew of the sport. When it was before there was a box that rollerblading went in, it was just like put them on your feet and the world is yours. And by the time it evolved to like 5 hours in the car, debating where we're going, watching one dude try something while everyone else is, it was sick, but it was like, I'm not doing it. Like I want to support the boys and stuff, but it got to the point where it's like, man, I've woken up in hospital so many times now. Like I just want to love it. I think all those nationals, those early Oriental years were amazing. Just that vibe. Like the first time you go to Kaiba Pass, or first time you go to Cheapskates, getting my first set of Appellate wheels in the meat pack, getting the Hoax, buying the Hoax on school holidays and going home. And I used to take that shit in my school bag and take classrooms over at lunchtime, or if we had like substitute teachers, be like, oh, we're all watching rollerblading today, you dicks. That sick as tweak method down at the viaduct over the railing and stairs and out into the harbour.
I was actually
Someone's got a video.
That was that City of Volcanoes contest. I had that stuff. I had Veggie Mighty Mite and a whole lot of Jamie Jameson. Rest in peace, homie. I miss you. A whole lot of those early videos on VHS, but unfortunately they went moldy. And we lost them. But there was that City of the Volcanoes comp. That was amazing. Like all the team rollerblade stuff was amazing. Like 13, 14 years old.
I might actually quickly bring up a photo of that if you guys are all good with it, because I don't think anyone really understands how massive that was back then.
That was stuff like that was super crazy. That City of Volcanoes comp though, I got up the next day and we got to. It's so different now. Holy crap.
Yeah, but I guess for people that don't understand it, is there used to be a set of 5 stairs, right where that kind of tree is up the top, and then it banked down to flat, and then a handrail, Joss?
Yeah, it was and handrail. The railing
it went down to those big floating docks.
Yeah.
And the rail was a good 2 or 3, maybe more than 3 meters away from the top step.
Yeah.
I think it was 4.5 meters. It's about 5 strides, so nearly 5 meters from the bottom step to the railing, and the railing was knee high.
There was a pretty chance of slipping your toes and going head first. Yeah.
Not when you're the Horganator, cuz you just fucking grip it and rip it.
Speaking of one more stunt, I did want to bring up this next one.
Jumping out of the cage.
Hold on, one more stunt I wouldn't mind talking about, because I don't know if this is really understood, but Liverpool Street.
Hey, that's Morgan and Kate's place on the left too.
But
I did that shit backwards. You can't see the bottom from the top.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the second steepest street in the country.
Wherever you are.
Oh,
that shot a photo of that.
That runs down behind Real Groovy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a run out, but it's still really steep.
It goes uphill back to Whitaker Street by those rails. That's in the top.
But that doesn't make it any less scary.
No, you've almost got to take a picture from the bottom looking up. I did it backwards. Yeah, it took 4 or 5 goes. I blew the backside out of a pair of pants. Jess Dramforth was there. I'm pretty sure we had like Blake, Fogarty, Dion, Jaron Grove. There were heaps of like hookers in these car parks down the side.
It's a steep
Yeah,
hill.
man, that was, you got to remember, that was, I could get out my front door, and if traffic and lights worked, I could push like 6 times and roll into that. Like, that was what, 500-600 meters from my house. You know, so like, it just, every day, school holidays, I'd wake up some school holidays and there'd be like Rory, maybe Willie West, Leon, there'd be a bunch of little kids, like, if they weren't knocking at my door, maybe Joe hadn't locked it, and I'd wake up and there'd be like kids sitting downstairs watching videos. I wake up in the mezzanine like, oh, yo. There were days when like I just didn't feel like it, so I'd just lie there and not make a sound and not answer any noises. And if no one came up that spiral staircase, they'd leave after a while. Yeah, that was the sickest, man. You'd have the best crews in the holidays, and you'd go.
Could I ask
anytime
Ben
we stayed at Abbott's?
Oh, sorry. I was going to ask you,
Yep.
Ben, how the United relationship worked. You know how we're all sponsored by United and then Phobic for a while.
Charlotte Mitchell, bless you, the man that put me on for work, the man that put me onto Ken's apartment, man that put me onto Rosie's when they took over. It was with that. They were just, there was the import export. I was helping out a little bit. We used to deal with like Video Action Sports. Dave Payne was the man. We had the agencies in New Zealand for like Senate. We piggybacked Rosie's from Rhonda Patton. Rhonda, thank you so much. You're amazing. The Queen in Australia. So sorry, question again. I got a little.
I was just asking how that all happened. So you kind of explained it. That's how we all got
Yeah,
on.
so like we Rosie's, we had like, you know, Senate and Medium and stuff like that coming through, which made sense because, you know, the homies, there was family on the companies. And I was just lucky enough, I was involved in the shop. Like, let's face it, if you work at the store, you're more likely to get free stuff or sponsored than the kid who deserves it, who's capable and talented. Because in New Zealand, you're selling the shit in the store. You know, like it's not fair, but the market hadn't realized at that stage. I'm not saying I wasn't terrible, but I realized pretty quickly, like I could still get my stuff. I could get it cheap. The suppliers would give it to me. I didn't have to lock into a company, and then I could try and say, hey, this guy's really good. He should promote you. You know, I'll keep selling it. So we had, United come through, and Mitch put me on. I love the wheels. And I mean, the team was amazing. John Glynn, John Julio, Josh Clark, Dion. Yeah, man, it was so sick. I mean, I'm Senate for life. I've got it stamped into my body. But that United, that new stuff was just cool, and it meant other people could get what they wanted. And I was getting boxes. Like Charlotte hooked it up. I didn't have to have a lot of contact initially, and I'd get like a product box, hats, t-shirts, shin guards, and wheels, and it was heaven, man. It's not hard to skate 40 hours a week outside of your job if you're getting your product. Unfortunately for Joe, I was blowing through so much, you know, and that you trade it out to people, and like you just buy stuff. Like I'm getting it cheap, and I can get it cheap, ride it for a bit, hook the kids up, they can ride it, you know. So Charlotte Mitchell, the man that helped make it all happen. United was an amazing company to ride for. I didn't have a lot of direct contact with them, but I was so amped. And funnily enough, when I made it to Blading Cup 2019, I was rolling old United wheels on my skates. I showed John, I was like, oh, check it out. He cracked up. It's pretty old. And I had the GC ones, and when I told Chad Hornish, he was like, what? I was like, yeah, man, I got the original frames in my wagon. So nice. That's pretty sick. Yeah, you know, I don't know, just luck of the Irish, man. Just spoiled, blessed. Karma was like, oh, this dude's good at jumping stairs, but he can't afford it. Let's hook him up.
So what's you obviously, like, you're working now a lot. Well, you're not at the moment because you just had your Achilles done.
What are the chance? Could we pause for like 90 seconds, 2 minutes?
Can we?
Yeah, I can pause recording because I need to go for a wee.
Yeah, sweet. Same. I just that second coffee just kicked in. I actually woke up before my alarm, so. But if that's cool, I'm just gonna hold off real quick now.
Cool. I'll pause the recording.
I'll be back in a sec. Shot, guys. This is awesome, by the way. Thank you. I love you two so much.
Look how
See you in a sec.
gangster Joss is getting out, walking away with his one crutch. Another one hobbling away. Oh, one crutch too. All right, we're back after a pee break. Back after a pee break. I did want to ask you, Ben, you were heavily involved in the filming of the Power Rangers in New Zealand. Like, how did that get hooked up, and how long did you do that for?
I'm just trying to think if Dan Bycroft might have had like it was an alternative talent agency where they specifically went around all the skate crew for extras that could skate or had tattoos or scars or beards, maybe. Dehard Vandermeer, the little homie, he was doing a lot of extras work at the time, so he'd just ring us up and be like, yo, jump in. Working at the shop meant Disney and stuff like that, production companies would come to the store and be like, hey, we need someone for this. So yeah, I got to work on Disney films and a few Power Rangers series. I know, like, I haven't seen all the series. I had lines in the filming. I don't know if any of it was ever actually like went to shot. I know we wore the monster costumes at one stage, but yeah, I think it was just right place, right time. Irish Maori, man. I'm in New Zealand. It just like it's mana and kismet and yin yang. I don't know. It just worked, and I'm not going to turn down an opportunity to blade or to get paid.
So what sort of stuff did you have to do blade related for Power Rangers? Like, was it tricks or was it coaching or was it?
Yeah, so one of the Extreme Series one where they had like Kev and Chizzer and stuff like that on a bunch of the Shortland Street cast. Yeah, Kev Francis, Shayataria. There was an Extreme Games kind of Power Rangers set where one was a scooter rider, one was a hacker, one was a BMXer, one was a skateboarder. And so we were filming at, I think it was Rainbow's End at the theme park. And we just had to run away from monsters and ride the rides. And then we had to have like this derby skate race on the go-kart track. And when they yelled monster, we had to have, the earthquake and Power Rangers, and you had to like fall over and the monsters explode out of smoke. And it was basically 15-hour days for $500 for an hour's work. It was pretty sweet. So yeah, I've done like breast cancer awareness ads, and there was that Russian airline ad they did and stuff. Just
Siberian
right
Airlines
place at the right time. Yeah, I wish I'd like pushed it more. Again, like I'm just not motivated enough by the bottom line, unfortunately. For my family, like I just want to get up and have a good time, be a good person and keep going. So like a lot of it, man, it's just circumstantial. It's just, yeah. Ley lines intersecting.
So what's skating like? What does skating look like for you now? Like, because you're working and stuff, and you're injured at the moment. But yeah.
I'm just it's my pro model boot. So we're working on a UFS mounting system. It's hard, man. Like my brain just wants to go. My body just wants to go. I'm surrounded by my peers telling me like, man, you got a mortgage and you're 40, you should grow up. And so there's an internal debate. I'm 40 years old and I still want to fight grown men because they tell me I should give it up because it's stupid and I'm just going to get injured. And, you get harassed by your boss if you need, I mean, not every boss. I've had heaps of good bosses. I've done it for a living, but the amount of times I've heard, don't you break your bloody arm skating in the weekend? And it's like, but it's acceptable if you do it drinking or playing rugby in this culture. So eat a steaming bag of phalluses as far as I'm concerned. Skating right now looks for me like I just want to do it. I just want to love it. I blew my knee out in the States just after Blading Cup. Bittersweet. Wasn't sure if I'd be able to skate again. Came back and was feeling it. And then this Achilles tendon popped. So I'm not done. I think I'm going to disappoint a lot of people when I go back to it, but I got shit to do. I've qualified. I'm old enough for the Masters now. There's travel to be done. I got a 40 for 40. I've got to put together when I get out of this boot. But basically, it's going out and enjoying myself. The hard part is getting myself out there. Sometimes, as I've gotten older, the mental health takes a few knocks. There's extra stresses and strains, and I've had some grunty head injuries that they don't do anything for you down the line. So wear your helmet, think about what you're doing. But just putting them on, just skating. Yeah, exactly. Of all that, yeah, it hurts.
So when were you last? when were you last on your skates? When was your last time you were out on your skates?
I don't know, about an hour and a half before I blew this out 6 weeks ago. I had a warm up on my blades, and then Morgs and Kate were down. I think this was just before Lucian blew his elbow out, maybe. But friends from Auckland. Had friends from Auckland down, and we had a little meet up at the skate park. I had a roll and a warm up, and I was actually skateboarding. Stopped to tie my shoelaces up, went to stand up and run forward to my board, and it went. So 6 weeks ago I was skating. And the unfortunate thing is I was starting to cut some tracks again, man. Like I had my Horgan lines, so
I was actually
boosting, doing shit that's probably a little bit bigger. I don't know. It's not frightening to me. I pick and choose my battles now. If I want to do it, it's because I truly believe I've got it.
Going back to skating, Ben. So when you were younger, you were very much the stunt guy. So dropped out of the rafters, jump out of a cage, and your latter year skating became more about flow and consistency and your ability to put lines together, which is something that not a lot of people are doing. Was that like a conscious transition, or was it just something happened naturally as you've gotten older?
I guess so. Rollerblading doesn't inspire me to rollerblade. It sounds stupid, but I like what I like, but I'll see a hill or a street corner or a color, and that'll translate in my head to a spot or something. It just needs to feel right. Unfortunately, I'm a slave to my responsibilities to a degree. It's not fair on my family that it's hard to pay rent or eat because dad wanted to be the man and jump another set of stairs. After 30 years and some decent injuries, it's the cost. It's the knock-on effect of people. Like you can't take it with you, but in the same sense, like I'm getting old, man. I'm getting frail. Like shit hurts. And you don't bounce back, and the motivation's not there because it's so much fun. I don't need it to challenge me anymore because life's challenging. So now a lot of skateboarding, a lot of BMXing. People will hate me for it, but that's the fluidity. A lot of music, a lot of dance. It's an energy. It's a vibe. It's a shape. It's a rhythm. It's just got to feel right. And I'm like, I'm a hippie. I love everyone, but I'm so critical. Like, case in point, someone might do a contest run and just do one trick, basically on everything around the street course, and I'm gonna look at that, and if that looks like fluid and stylish, and I'm incredibly biased because I've got a crush on you or something like that, then I might like back royales might put you in third or something. And people would come up at contests and say, why did that guy beat me? I did this. And it's like, dude, look at your pants, it's embarrassing, horrible judging stuff like that. But
I know. I remember a lot of the times when we've been skating with you, Ben, like you either won't skate or you will skate, but you can stop really quickly and lose interest. But every now and then you'll just like really vibe on like one thing. Like I think the last time I was actually skated with you was in Auckland somewhere, and I didn't skate, but it was a pole jam. You just got stuck into this one pole jam over and over and over and over. And
in my head, I know what I want it to look like. I know how it should feel. I know what should happen. And then it's like, why didn't that happen? Why?
Yeah, it's not necessarily.
It's got to be interesting.
That was Pukekohe session, I think, years ago.
Yeah, that was no sleep. I'd probably been up for 72 hours at that stage.
You killed that ledge there too. Absolutely killed it with that big grind in the top miss trial.
That Puke Park's super sick. It's just got to be fun.
You always seem to get a lot of
Is the thing.
satisfaction out of doing something a little bit different. I think that's what I've noticed anyway.
Oh, you go out sometimes and it's so linear. It's like people can only think to do what they've seen to do to try and be like what they've seen. And it's like, that's cool, man. But why try and emulate when you can create?
I guess
being self-conscious too is a big thing. Like there's stuff I won't try because I don't want to look terrible and embarrassing. It's taken me 30 years to get used to watching myself skate. And if it feels right, I'm gonna just do a backside on everything. Right.
I think it seems like a very genuine approach to skating is what I've noticed from you. Is like if you're doing it, you're having fun. And if you're sitting down and not skating, you're just not feeling it. It's never really, I don't think it's ever really forced with you, or, you don't try and push it if you're not feeling it. I think that's what you're kind of saying anyway.
Very much so. And it comes down to the fact that for 10 or 15 years, at least, I put that pressure on myself that I had to. Anytime I went out, I was at work. I was on my job. I was representing the companies. I was representing my riders. I worked in the skate shop, and everyone I served, I wanted to skate, so I'd have more people to skate because they'd enjoy it, not because I wanted more money. I just want people to get together and enjoy themselves. And yeah, sometimes it's just so linear. It's like the whole reason I love it is because you can't tell me nothing. Like Kanye said, you can't tell me nothing. I'm gonna put my shit on and do what I want. And you can get out of here if you want me to look like the latest video. I think that's part of my culture too, my heritage.
I'm looking at our little timer up the top, and it's telling me we've got about 8 minutes left. So
yeah, so I think
I'm running out of time too, but I still want to cover some things with you. So should we? Do you think we could maybe tee up another?
I'll try and be concise.
Why don't we keep going
if you need it, or
let's keep going. Let me pause that.
If it runs out, you just have to do it next.
Okay, so this is a bit random, but back in the Cave Crew days, you were the kind of first dude to own a video camera and got into filming and kind of started thinking about angles and different composition of shots. And then you actually lent your video camera to Isaac, which kind of started Isaac on almost a journey of, videography and creating edits and videos, and that kind of bolstered the New Zealand scene. But that kind of all started with you. Like, how did you have the confidence to give your $2,000 video camera to this 15-year-old kid?
I knew when I got it back, it wasn't going to be working anymore. Put it that way. I got that thing back and it never worked again. I don't think I'd backed up any of the tapes, so I lost all the footage that I didn't have on big VHS tapes because they just dubbed over the ones that I had and didn't take any blanks. But I lived 2 blocks from the Sony service center. So you could go down to where they service the stuff and get like X repair stock for cheap.
Yeah.
So I went and I think it was a High 8. I'd got like a $7,000 lump sum payment. You probably can't see it from ACC from my scar. So I think I bought Musker S shoes, Wu-Tang t-shirts, and a video camera, and realized like 10 years later, like that $7,000 was probably better being invested. But it makes sense. Look, the whole time I've been skating, I just wanted to skate for my life. I wanted it to be my living, my life. So you had to think outside of the box. I wanted to work at the shop. I wanted to create that scene. That's why I didn't leave when I had work offers overseas. Was there needed to be something here because we had the talent, we had the body of people, we had the infrastructure, and it was like we need to be out filming more. When it was hot, when there was money in it, there were TV shows that wanted to film you. When it wasn't, it was like, this is when it's at its purest, this is when it's at its best, this is when it will do the most because it's ours. And that's what we needed. There were videos, Veggie Mighty Might, 10-6 and stuff like that were around that. On VHS, little home movie style, and it was like, we need more of this. We were watching videos of guys our age, our ability, our talent level. I mean, in that peak around that 98 time when I hit Auckland, 98, 2000, half of you guys should have been in the States, if not Aussie full time, because of the ability, the personality. So many Kiwis missed out because they're Kiwis and they're like, I'll just get on the piss and pash some girl up, worries. Nah, man, go overseas. be Isaac, be Tim, go and, like, bless you, Van Weird, bless you, Sack Dog, I love you. Yeah, it had to happen, Liam. That's how it came about. I loved it. I wanted to do it. I wanted to film. I was like, I want to showcase the homies, and I want the homies to showcase me. And I'll claim I made him. Isaac's parents used to make me choose his Christmas presents. I made Heather Armstrong too, the back-to-back Australian New Zealand women's reigning dynasty title. So it's what you get. Don't buy Rex skates or I'll make you put grind plates on them. Next question, 2.5 minutes.
Hey, do you have another one, Josh? Or do you want me to get cracking?
No, I think I'll run out of time if I start asking.
I did warn that I was going to ruin this by talking too much too. So if we can do another one, that'd be cool because I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah, there's still more to talk about.
Definitely. One real quick question, Ben, is you judged a fair few XEers back in the day. Did you get paid?
How dumb do I look? I would have done it for free. I did not negotiate any of the terms. The big homie Shiloh Mitchell did it. Yeah, I made money. I had to take time off work.
Yeah.
It was stressful. Your mates hate you for half the day because you didn't give them a beer voucher or something. Yeah, I made some hectic decisions. I bullied people into what I thought was right sometimes. Yeah, I got paid, but it was 3 or 4 days. I didn't get to skate those contests that I wanted to skate. I'd skate the warm-ups and then had to concentrate and had to organize and run back and forth. And I filmed that one year and skated like every single run on street for BMX, skateboard, rollerblading. That's 300 runs in a weekend. I missed out on a lot, but yeah, I got paid, but it was my job. I was supposed to. I'd do it for free, but it's heaps easier when you pay.
I guess it's kind of nice to, acknowledge.
You froze, Joss.
You ran the inline. You were like a dad to some of us in a strange way. You did help at all those events. You commentated. You facilitated a lot of stuff happening in the Auckland scene, but you're really just one of us too, right? You're still just a down to earth like skate rat, really. Still
to this day, I think we're going to cut out soon, but
we've got about a minute to go.
That's exactly it. I love it. I can't be bigger than what it is. What was amazing was I looked up to you guys. So to have people I looked up to hang out and be the homies, let alone your Brooks and your Scotts, it was just really accepting, but forced to be friends. Like little Ben said, you don't get to choose your mates in rollerblading in New Zealand. You by default, if you've got skates on, you're the homie. So just had to happen.
Hey, it's Neem here, one half of the Cave Crew podcast. Hey, unfortunately, we had a few technical issues at the end of that last Zoom, so we kind of stuffed up the outro. We are going to have another episode with Ben. He had so much to talk to, and we only got halfway through our questions. So consider this part 1 of 2 parts with Ben Horgan. Sweet. Bye.
Parents are very strict. Where you going with those skates? Wear your helmet. Are you doing that too? Are you jumping on those banisters?